Hello, teacher. Hello, students. I'm Gonzalo Palacios, and this is my presentation for HTML forms inputs. I'm going to talk about input, text area, select, and option elements. Input element. The input element is used to create interactive control for web-based forms in order to accept data from the user. There are a lot of types of input elements. The most used types are button, checkbox, radio, submit, text, and so on. But there are many other useful types like password, emails, colors, etc. Okay, I'm going to show this code. Uh, I've put here the most common input elements, and the first is button. Okay, you can see the syntax here. The input element type button. Okay, input has another attribute named named value. Okay, and you can put the text here. I'm going to change in order to display another text inside a button. Okay, this attribute name uh, is useful to to connect this data from when you need to send this data to the database. Okay, the next element is checkbox. Okay, and checkbox is very useful when you have to give options to the user, and the user can select more than one option. Okay, the user can select all the options or only two or three options. Okay, the syntax here is very important to connect the for attribute of label to the ID attribute of option. This is responsive. Okay, you can see here when you click the text, the checkbox is enabled. The next option is not enabled when you click that text because the label is not connected with the for attribute. Okay, you can see the difference here. Okay, the next element is radio. It's very similar to checkbox, but the difference is the user can select only one option. Okay, no two options. The syntax is very similar, but you need to you need to to keep the name attribute in all inputs. Okay, um, in this way you can join these options in order to set the data to the server. If you do not put this attribute, the option uh, will not be considered in, inside all the options. Okay. The next element is submit, and it's very similar. It's a button, very similar to button. Okay. This input is useful when you need to send all that information inside a form. Okay, to the to the database. It has a value attribute, okay, in order to show, to display text inside a button. It's very similar to button, okay. And then the last input I'm going to talk today is text. Input text has another attribute, placeholder, okay, in order to show a hint to the user. For example, you can say he put your age and the user, okay, my age is 39. Okay, the next, this other element. This, this This element represents a multi-line plain text editing control. Okay, it has multiple attributes like rows and columns, um, ID and name attribute, very similar to input elements. Okay, and this is the syntax: input type text area, row and calls. Okay, this is the code. Um, this this element is manageable for the user. The user can expand or shrink as he wants. Okay. Similar to input, you need to connect label with text area through ID. For an ID, must have the same name. Okay, and you can select rows in order to set the space. Maybe okay. You can put whatever space you need, and then the submit option to send this data. Okay, the last element is select an option. I put this element together because they are they work together. The select element represents a control that provides a menu of options through a drop-up menu. Okay, an option uh, is necessary to add inside the select element. Okay, let's go to the code. This is the code. For example, my label is select a course. You can see here. And I put this attribute for equal courses. And this is connect with the select ID attribute courses. Okay. And then you need to put an option element for each item you need. Okay. I'm going to wrap this. Wait a minute. Okay. The option element has a value attribute. Value attribute is not equal to the text displays to the user. Okay, the display the text is displayed inside the bracket, the angular brackets. Okay, the opening and closing brackets. But the value, this text inside the value attribute is the the name you are going to send to the JavaScript code or to the server. This shown, okay, interprogramming is the option selected by the user. Okay. You have also this attribute selected in order to predefine what option you have to highlight. Okay. For example, I put the selected attribute in the last option, and you can see when you open the drop-down box, you can see web backend development selected. Okay. Thank you so much for your attention. I hope this presentation will be useful for you.